Go for it, yo.
Boom, there we go. Here we are, episode 2, Best of Both Worlds of Wrestling podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Khalil.
Here we are back with you another week. A bit of a busy week. We are in the post-Mania season for WWE. AEW getting ready to go for their big summer push. Every company basically getting ready for their big summer push. But we are less than a week removed from an eventful Mania.
Yes.
Very eventful. I missed night 2 because I had 9 to 5 obligations, unfortunately. I'm gonna try to watch replay tomorrow, but
you ain't catch up yet.
Say it again.
You ain't catch up yet.
No, so I can't speak on it fully outside of
night one was the one though. If you call night one, you got a good show. Night two wasn't horrible, but night one, I think in the last couple of years, has been the night, whatever, how fate would have.
Nah, I saw night 1. Yeah, night 1 last year definitely was a better night because Cody debuted on night 1 last year, right?
Mm-hmm. A lot of good stuff last year on night 1. This year, I will say that. Well, we'll get into it. If I could, I got to pull up my little predictions thing I had up.
Let's see if we
and I can run through. Like I went 7 for 13 on the weekend. There was a lot of surprises, I guess, for me that I wasn't expecting. A couple people got wins I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Seth and Logan was night 1. I thought Seth would win. I got that. I can run through all of them, matter of fact. But Edge versus Balor, I thought Balor was gonna win. I did not get that. For some ungodly reason, I chose Omos over Brock. I didn't get that. I thought Dom would beat Ray. I didn't get that. I thought I said the Viking Raiders on the show, I think, would win. No, I think I said Street Profits I think on the show last week, but I switched up. I don't know, peer pressure. But Street Profits won. I chose Viking Raiders for some reason. I thought Damage Control was going to win the 6-woman tag. Like I have a bad stretch of L's here. I got Shayna Baszler and Ronda correct. My man Gunther showed out. I think you missed that match. We didn't see Gunther.
No, but that's the first match we're going to rewatch.
Look, man, people say some funny stuff about this phrase that ain't tapped in with wrestling, but that was big, meaty men slapping meat at its finest, and it was a trip. You'll enjoy that one. That's I like that dude character so much, man. I'm rooting for the dude. And I'm in the match, like, just hoping this dude will win. So he got that. Bianca beat Asuka, I got that. Theory beat John Cena, I got that. Ripley beat Flair, I got that. Kevin Owens beat Sammy. And then, so I got a nice little run. And then it's like, oh, Roman Reigns beat Cody, which I think, it threw me off. But
yeah. I think I went 11 for 13 because
crazy, bro.
So here's the thing. I was doing my predictions and forgot Triple H. Like I was under the mindset that Vince is booking this. I feel like I'm still under that old mindset because I don't watch the week to week stuff. I only see clips of SmackDown and Raw.
Right.
But I had Theory win. That was one of the no-brainers.
Definitely, I thought.
Yeah, Street Profits because at first I didn't want to pick the Street Profits because I thought they were gonna give Montez a singles push.
Mm-hmm.
But then I look at the other tag teams and it's are they ready to be at a level where the Usos and everyone else are? But I don't think so. At least not yet. I had Seth beating what's his name? Logan Paul.
Okay.
I actually had Trish, Lita, and Becky winning because 2 legends and Becky, I can't see them losing at Mania. I just couldn't see them losing at Mania.
I was a victim of the dirt sheets. I'm like, oh, maybe Trish is gonna turn. So I was, under those pretenses, I thought maybe it would have worked out better.
I had Ray beating Dom.
Wow.
So that's not an issue. I had Rhea beating Charlotte. I'm not count. So for some reason they got The Miz versus Pat McAfee on here. I'm not counting that. Like that was not. I'm not counting that.
I'm definitely not counting that. I didn't count it.
We all had Kevin and Sammy winning. So that was, I think, the other. I don't want to say no brainer, but I was like 95% sure.
I was
It was
confident.
going to go that way. And then night 2, I had Brock beat Omos. Ronda and Shayna only because they're the most established tag team in that match.
Yeah.
So
everybody else is just a hodgepodge.
Yeah, so I was choosing them by default.
Mm-hmm.
I had Gunther retaining. I think they're gonna go for like a record-breaking title ring for him.
He's the man, yo. He's the man.
I had Asuka winning because I thought she was gonna finally get that Mania moment. Since this is like, it might be the tail end of her career, but I'm not mad at Bianca retaining, obviously.
That bigger ideas for Bianca.
Yeah.
You know.
I also had the Demon beating Edge, but I guess narratively, with the way Edge basically got Judgment Day taken from him, it made sense for him to win the overall feud, but he didn't need the win, I don't think.
I think, I don't think he needed to win either. But and it also makes you wonder what is the Judgment Day now?
Yeah.
Like, because Rhea won, like she represented, Dom lost, Finn lost. So it was like, who are we, man? I really wanted this weekend to be like, yo, the Judgment Day here, like we bust that ass. Like that's what I was hoping to get out of it. And that didn't work out that way.
And we didn't even get Damian Priest on the show, so.
Right, I thought he would have came out with Dom. I wanted them to have that was night 1, right? So you saw that Dom entrance coming from jail and all that.
No, so I stepped out during the entrance and came back.
Out, brother. You stepping out. What's this?
I didn't think he was gonna do a crazy entrance.
They took that man from Alcatraz, man. You can't be missing.
I gotta rewatch that.
Oh, they had this dude in the paddy wagon, man. They should have played Dreams and Nightmares when he was pulling in, man. And then came out to like the Alter Bridge song, man. That's what I wanted. I ain't hear no Alter Bridge song all weekend. I wanted to hear the damn Judgment Day song. That's the place for that entrance, man.
They should have. And with that stage,
it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And then I also had Cody beating Roman, and they swerved everybody with that one.
But if I'm younger, like if I'm a kid, I would be pissed. But I kind of don't. Just like, I don't know, man. Impress me. You know what I mean? Like let's see where it goes.
That's my whole thing.
I wanted the moment, you know what I mean? But if you don't got it, I can't do nothing about it. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens, basically.
You're
gonna have to let me know. Because from the way people were talking about Raw.
All right, so full disclosure, I wasn't home when Raw was on. I caught the tail end of Raw when Brock Lesnar was beating down Cody. Apparently, Brock Lesnar came out in the beginning of the show to show support for Cody and tag team with him to face Roman and I think Solo later in the evening. And the stipulation for whoever was going to come out and help Cody had to be somebody that had a match at WrestleMania, and also and if that person got involved, that person would never have a shot at Roman Reigns again. So out comes Brock Lesnar because the stipulation of his SummerSlam match was if he loses, he can't get a shot at Roman again. So it was like he got nothing to lose, and he had a match at WrestleMania. So Brock came out. So people thought they were gonna be cool. And then in the main event, as I got in the house and I turned it on, Brock, I guess, turned. Like I saw the clip after, like Cody was like excited doing his taunt, and like Brock, he turned around, Brock just picked him up at F5, and people like, what? And then Brock like beat his ass. And I don't know what was behind that. I don't know where they're going with it, but Brock got busy. and we'll see where it goes. Man. Apparently, people the show was not well received, and I think we'll get into that in a new segment in a few, because it has a lot to do somewhat with this WWE merger with Endeavor. But just on the top of your head, from what you've seen last week in regard to WrestleMania, any entrances of yours stand out? Any favorite matches stand out for what you saw?
So I got to see, I'm missing night 2, but I got to see a clip of Bianca's entrance and the story about like the little girl who lost her mother. So that automatically catapulted to the top for me.
Everyone learned about that literally at the same time. Like we had no idea. We was watching Triple H on his press. I'm like, wait, what? She already stood out in the entrance because she did this whole thing flipping and get like, I was like, wow. I was like, yo, she's like 5. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, I was already impressed, you know. And then Triple H said that. I was like, what? I was like, oh, her mom died? I said, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That was I appreciate the fact that they that it's a inner city dance group. I really appreciate it. The fact that they're in California and she took a group of girls from Compton to perform on that stage and they performed so well. You know, it's your turn to give your favorite entrances, but like I just got to give that opinion. Like that was just in general, you know, Bianca did something with an HBCU last year with their marching band. Yeah, I just like how she's using her time in the spotlight to highlight Black culture. And these things, like, again, we're from an era. All I had growing up was Coco Beware and the Little Ron Simmons, and Coco Beware was with Owen Hart for a quick second. Like I'm even after the Bad News Brown era. I'm literally Coco Beware and Virgil. Like that's what I saw. That's what I saw for a long time, you know. And I guess we'll do an episode one day about. I think we should do an episode one day about like just this period we're in where we have so many options for Black athletes to look at, or Black wrestlers to look at. But like that was what I saw, and like and then I had a Ron Simmons toy, but I wasn't really messing with WCW like that, so it didn't mean much, you know. Eventually, we had Ahmed Johnson. And they were really trying to push him. You know, we saw it happen to him, but like really and truly, like we never had a period like this where like we could have leave such an imprint and the business or the company has the wide reach it has now. So she's a sport for like really making use of that and leveraging that.
100%. Like, because I remember at one point, like before the Nation of Domination, it was for me, Too Cold Scorpio. Ron Simmons, of course. And I think like Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, I was a fan, by the way. Like everyone should know that. I was over. He was over in my house.
Yeah.
And no lie, I'm sorry. Well, Booker T also, but that's the mid 90s. Now I'm talking Coco Beware. I'm like, that's when I first started watching wrestling, like the early 90s. That's all I had was Virgil and Coco Beware. Thank God for Harlem Heat. Like they were definitely a staple, like in the crib. You know, I knew who they were. But
Harlem Heat 100%. And apparently today's like the anniversary of the Hulk Hogan "We Come For You, Nigga" promo.
I love that shit.
Today or yesterday.
I love that shit. There's this designer. I wish I would have bought the shirt. She does wrestling shirts also. Her name is Young Littlefoot on Twitter, and she had a shirt with like that clip, a freeze frame of like Booker T saying it. I wish I would have bought it back then, man. That shit is hilarious. Yeah, that's one of the best promos of all time. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes. Not Seth's entrance, his outfit mostly was crazy. I know he was going for like the most ridiculous, you know, got the drip guy, had a little old Jeff Jarrett inspired
top, right?
The top and shit. But I'm trying to see from night one. I think night one, the only big entrances were Seth's and then Logan Paul coming down on the zip line like he was Shawn Michaels or something. And then
I didn't really like that entrance.
Yeah, but he's a corny dude, so
yeah, like I didn't really feel that.
Yeah, I don't know if anything from
I do
nothing
think they
from
had a good match though. I do think they had a good match, but
yeah,
I ain't like
yeah.
that.
But any night two entrances that I might have missed?
So there was this weird thing with Edge's entrance. He did the Brood thing again, but they did not play the Brood music. They played I think they said they played a Slayer song. And on the LED boards, they put Brood Edge. And I'm like, that's mad corny. Like that's something conversationally we would say to each other. Don't put it up there like, oh, it's the Brood Edge coming. That's like you caricature. I like to say this word. I don't know if it's really a word, but you caricaturize the the thing. Like, don't do that. Don't commodify it that way. Like you could say this is influenced by it, or whatever. But on the screen, it just says big bold letters, Brood Edge. It looks very like sophomoric. It don't look scary at all.
No, did they do one of those like and I hate that they do like that augmented reality, like hologram shit they do.
Oh no, they didn't do
Certain-
that. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. He came up in like this crazy jacket and like this crazy like Daft Punk type of mask, and
Mhm.
it looked cool. And then then he took the stuff off and then he got Alter Bridge.
Yeah, but you can't do the Brood entrance without the Brood music. Like you
No,
can't.
no, that's why I'm like, bro, what is this watered down shit? Like, give us the Brood, bro. Give us Jim Johnston and stop playing it. um,
Word.
so no, so he came out. Finn. Some people don't like Finn's entrance because he did the demon thing. He used his original song for it, like that the faster paced Finn Balor song. And
Okay, so where he could like put the arms out and shit.
Mhm. So he
Yeah.
did that. I much would have rather if he did the screwed Judgment Day version of that.
Mhm.
Um, and he had like them things that that you see people have at like music festivals and shit. You put them in your hand and it's like a smoke machine and smoke
Yeah.
out of it. He had that and purple's coming out of it. He was doing like this whole thing. Some people didn't like it. They kind of put like that John Morrison slow motion, like slow the frame down type of thing on it.
Okay.
I kind of fucked with it. I didn't mind it. I think you got to make use. It's a long ass ramp. You got to make use of all the time. Like, so I'm not really. And
Yeah,
the
you got
demon really takes a while to get to the ring, so you have to kind of finagle it. So I'm not really beefing about that too much.
yeah, I think most things is the demon loses.
Yeah,
Like I think he's winless as the demon.
I will say this too. I don't know if it has anything to do with the match, but if the match finished, so maybe it doesn't. But Finn took a crazy hit with a ladder and during the match, and they basically got to stop the match for a second so he could get
Yeah.
stapled. And you would think, like in the moment, as fans, like, so we came up with some gruesome ass stuff we were seeing. How you stopping Hell in a Cell match? But he showed the cut afterwards. That bad boy is deep and long. I think it took like 14 staples, they said. So I can't really knock it.
Yeah.
But I think it made the match disjointed. I didn't think it was a bad Hell in a Cell match at all, but the pausing just messed up the pacing.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, man, because that was one of the solid rivalries I think going into the show. But yeah, I like those two entrances. I like Roman's entrance. He had like these 6 pianists playing the melody to his song, and at the end of it, his music hits and all the pianists get up and stand up and like acknowledge him. And they did this thing with the pyro, and the pyro was beautiful. That's the WrestleMania set is gorgeous. They're just
Oh yeah.
getting more outlandish with that shit. That shit it's literally WrestleMania 21 on steroids. That's all it is. It's just WrestleMania on steroids. And
And
I
that
thought
shit.
the WrestleMania 21 was an ambitious thing too, because every match they used to change the what you call that joint, like the
With
marquee.
the
They had a marquee
mark.
on the side, and depending on the match it was, they'll tell you who's fighting on the marquee. Like just creative stuff. And so this
Yeah.
time they had more like a simulation of movie trailers spread out on the side, and it was sort of the stage was inverted, like almost 3D. Like
Like
it was just real. It gave a nice effect as if you were going down the hall. You know what I mean? So that I like the set.
yeah.
I like Rhea Ripley's entrance. I liked, of course, I love Bianca's. Trying to think. Those are the ones that stood out.
Mhm.
Those ones that stood out. Anybody else that had fireworks, I was excited for. I just like seeing massive pyro. Cody had enough pyro. Cody had a cool like jacket thing going on. He had like feathered with eagle wings on his shit or some eagle feathers on his shit. Like it looked crazy. He had a cool.
That could have drip on the low.
Yeah, he had a cool fit, and they had a great main event. Well, I guess I'll segue into the favorite matches. But off the top of my head, really enjoyed Ray versus Dom.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it's the best I've seen Dom look. Like everything just looks so crisp. Like I could tell they really worked on that. I really liked that match. I really liked Charlotte and Rhea. That match was just like, and it followed. I think Bianca followed the other match. Bianca followed the triple threat in the kind of match, but those ladies just had a nice like tough it, gut it out type of match, where you really felt like Rhea earned the belt, And so I love that match. The fatal four way with the tags with the guys.
Yes.
That motherfucker was out of control.
Yes. Like they all, you know what it felt like? They all were like, oh, they think like fans think this is just a throw together match and it's not gonna be worth watching. Nah, we're gonna show up and show out. And that's exactly what everyone did in that match. Like everyone came out looking better in that match.
It's funny, man. I remember when I was in college, I went with some friends to a strip club one night, right? And of course, everyone's in there. Everybody got a body, and we had a good time. We spent our money, and this one slender woman got on stage, and we was all kind of like, all right, well, nothing to see here. So we all like, all right, let's get ready to go. And then like this girl got off the stage. She went over to my boy and like slapped him in the face. It was like, you like that? He's like, oh, and she started, and we were like, oh, she got basically like we wasn't expecting none of this stuff from her. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how I look at that match. Like, all right, what you got? Yeah. And then you got Ricochet flying all over the place. I'm like, whoa, hold on.
She can't let them know what it was.
That's what I'm saying. So like, they did the damn thing in that match. I really enjoyed that match. I thought Bianca and Asuka was good. It's not quite as good as Rhea and Charlotte, but it's pretty good. It's still a damn good title match to me. KO and Sammy was fun, but I don't think like for the sentiment it was great. I don't think it beats Rhea and Charlotte either, but it's up there. But it was a good match.
They complaining about the 23 super kicks that the Usos.
And what they did, well, you seen the match, so like I do one, you do one, we'll do one together. It's some real what's them dudes over AEW, man? Like
that's the thing. So people are like,
what's the Young Bucks? They like Young Bucks.
They're like people complain when the Young Bucks do it, but it's okay when the Usos do it.
I'm gonna give the Usos this. The Samoans been messing with super kicks before I was born. That's what I know. If I watch a match from the 80s, they doing that joint in AWA. So
yeah, the thrust kick is but
or what they reverse crescent kick, savate kick, whatever JR want to call it, they've been doing it since the 80s. So they can have it. They can have it. And I do think it's definitely like a hallmark of people's matches. And it's like, I don't know if it needed all that, but they had a fun match though. I really love the triple threat for the Intercontinental title. That was just like brutality. And the people fucked with it so heavy.
That was my most forward. That was the match I was looking forward to most after the tag team title match. Like that was the one. And when it was announced for night 2, I was like, I'm gonna miss it. But I'm definitely gonna tomorrow morning, afternoon, I'm rewatching that shit.
Yeah, you'd be good for it. You would not be disappointed. You would not be disappointed.
As big men who can work, like they Like that's a great combination. When you're big, you got the size, so you have the aura already. But when you can work and put on a great match, it just ties everything together. And
Mm-hmm.
the three of them, that European strong style that they all like to do, it's gonna be
That fits. And it's
not
funny.
much.
Sheamus been that way since jump. Like that, I've never been a person that didn't like Sheamus. I'm like, bro, he be beating people. Like his shits be, you know. If I remember Bret Hart saying one time, like he wants his match to look like, oh wait, but that's real over there. Like
Yeah,
he be laying it in. So I
yeah.
really messed with that. The main event I thought was very good.
Hmm.
I thought the ending was a little deflating. I don't know if well, you haven't seen it yet, so I'll I guess I can spoil it. You know who won, but you know, Solo got ejected at one point, and then he came back in the end anyway, and still spiked Cody. I'm like, bro, either come back at the end and do it, but what the hell? What use is the ejection? You know.
Yeah. I
So
would rather they could have told it like this: not have Solo come out at all until the very end, and just
mhm.
be like, maybe Roman's gonna go it his own. Maybe he's gonna do it on his own. Da 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 da. And just last minute, no, it's not. Boom. The whole having him come out, sent back, and then come back out, it's contrived. And then him coming back out lessens the impact of when he got sent to the back initially.
Yeah, it was
'Cause it's like,
deflating,
what's the point?
and it came at the time in the match where like Cody had kicked out of some real shit by that point. And
Mhm.
Roman had kicked out of some real shit at that point. So you knew it was just the next thing that happened was really going to be it. Like, you know, but they worked well together. I thought they had a really good match. Trying to think if I missed any matches that I really liked. I think those were ones. I mean, I don't think the Hell in a Cell was bad. It suffered from the stoppage, I thought.
Yeah.
There was also a spot where Shane McMahon came back to confront the Miz. He did a leapfrog.
He
He
tore his
blew out his
quad.
leg. Yeah, he blew out his leg on landing, and something I could tell he landed weird, but then when he tried to get up, his leg couldn't hold the weight. He just fell right back down, and on the fly, either someone got the message to Snoop or whatever, but pretty
Mhm.
much with under a minute, he got back in the ring and like he punched Miz a couple of times and did a funny people's elbow, and people popped for it, which is what you want, man. It's like, all right, man, we got something out of it. Let's not make this awkward. Everyone's watching, and
It's
hope
like
hope Shane gets well soon, man. What can I
it's
say?
like father, like son. I forgot what show it
That was the
was.
Royal Rumble. I ordered that show when I was in high school. That was '05
Oh,
Royal Rumble.
Vince popped both quads trying to
Yes.
get into the ring, and he just had to sit down in the ring.
And the
He
funny
couldn't
thing
sit.
is, he never slid in the ring before. I
No.
never seen and that night he wanted to slide in the ring, and that's what happened, bro. Whenever you do some shit with your body it's not used to doing, and you put a
Yeah.
lot of pressure for you to do it, it's gonna
Mhm.
give, yo. Like I've found that on much smaller cases in my own life. Like, bro, take your time. You cannot, especially now, I'm 34. I can do everything. I just can't do it at a snap. I gotta like
Yeah.
prepare myself. I can do it.
Gotta warm the joints up first and shit.
You feel me? Like let's not do that.
Nah. And Seth and Logan had a good match.
Yeah, they had a great match.
Had a good match. Their match was really good. I just can't stomach Logan, Paul, and his brother. So when I sat through the match and I did enjoy it. So I'm not gonna hate and say it was a bad match. It was a good match. It was probably one of the I'd say it's in the top 5 for the whole weekend,
Yeah, no,
honestly.
it was good. And I had no doubts about it. I
Yeah.
think Logan's character, he still has to work on being a good bad guy.
Yeah,
Because like he
it's
has to
too
get around certain things. Like he suffers sort of like what I don't want to say Seth Rollins suffers from, but like Seth Rollins learned how to get with it. Seth Rollins has a very nasally voice. His shit don't sound intimidating. But if he creates a character where that voice can work for him, then
yes.
like now it's like,
Yeah.
yo, you're not really worried about my voice. You're more worried about the level of skill I have. And this
Mhm.
voice is more, I character, like the voice is part of the character now.
Yeah.
Now you can do
Yeah.
that weird laugh and shit like that. And it could be something you pop for as a face, or it could be a devious laugh if you want to
Mhm.
be, if you want to be. So like Logan Paul, if he cares, You got to learn how, like, bro, like even Brock understands it. Brock has learned to be very comedic because he don't have an imposing voice, or if he's a heel, he's not talking much.
No.
And you're just more impactful. You know what I mean? Like, so he has to learn that. Like, if he's gonna be an asshole, he has to turn the volume up on asshole. He can't come in talking about like, I know you guys don't like me.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta lean into this I am an asshole shit. Like,
yeah.
You know, coming from the ceiling as a heel doesn't make sense to me. I know it's like the spectacle of being like a social media thing, but like coming from the ceiling is something people want to cheer for. Like, I ain't trying to see you like that's, and it doesn't make me hate you more. It's just it's more boring. I'm uninterested.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And that's the you don't want. You don't want that what they call it, the X-Pac heat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You want to do something like what Batista did at like his last WrestleMania, like come out in the Escalade with like security and like beef up the fact that like I'm really above y'all, not physically, but like I can afford all these things, like something like that. I have resources, like you got to kind of dig into people that way. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But the match was cool. I will say this: my one super big letdown of the weekend was John Cena versus Austin Theory. I must say that wasn't.
I think part of it is they shuffle the order. I feel like I put that match first just to have the big John Cena pop.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is John Cena is his acting career now is worth so much more than it was in the past that I don't think he can go out there and put on a banger because he can't have the nagging injuries because he's got to film this show and then this movie and then this and this, that, and the third. So, and honestly,
I'm like, stay home,
he
bro.
don't
Stay home.
he don't feel like the same John with that hair. He doesn't.
I wish he had to figure out the hair situation. He need to go for like a light season. Dot Rivers that thing. He needs to.
Yeah, but he got that's the hair he needs for the role for the Peacemaker. So they might be filming season 2.
I wasn't feeling it. He was pale as shit. He was and I know
he
can still wrestle, man. I know he could put on a better match. I think that's why I'm disappointed. I'm like, bro, you and Austin Theory could have a real match, bro. Like he had a good match with Roman last year or two ago, whatever. Like you can still do some things. Don't like I just felt like it ain't. And Austin Theory's not a bad wrestler, so I'm not putting it on him. I just can't.
Yeah,
I'd be liking his matches. So John got to hold that one. The careers, if the movie career is a thing, square it away, brother. But if you do not come in and I'm not gonna call it half-assing it because he was in shape and everything. But I think he even knows he probably could have had a better match. Like, he did one promo, we didn't see him again. He did the match, we didn't hear from him again. He really is like The Rock, yo. Now he's really becoming The Rock.
Like shit, you know what the thing is too? Things change when you're part of a franchise now. It's one thing when you're just doing a movie here and there, you're doing whatever you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're like, oh, you in the DC universe now, so you got to be a part of this series. We're gonna need you to do cameos here and there and everywhere, and it's just like,
and it's paying you money equivalent to what you were making and getting way less damage done to you. So you're gonna prioritize that heavily.
Yeah.
And it's less travel. So I get it. I'm not mad at it, and I hope it works out well for him. But I ain't like that match. It was a dreary ass beginning to the show, and I'm an Austin Theory fan, so I hope things pick up for dude.
Yeah, I think it's just Theory now, right? They don't even call him Austin anymore.
Nah, they changed it back. Well, they changed it once Vince left. This is a great segue. Once Vince left, as many say, resigned in disgrace. Everybody got first names back, So I don't know. It looks like Vince might be back, according to some reports, in the creative seat at the gorilla position. And so we'll see if Theory gets a last name only again.
Yes.
Right here, I call this our hot tag segment where we speak on all the hot news outside the wrestling ring. And the biggest thing this week is obviously the WWE sale to the parent company of the UFC Endeavor.
Yes.
Where Vince has sold his controlling 51% of shares to them, I believe, for $9.3 billion or somewhere in that neighborhood. And
Yeah.
they will merge with the UFC to form like their own new company that has not created a name for itself yet.
Yeah.
Vince is being set as what they call the executive chairperson of this company, or of the WWE, I should say. But his controlling shares is what he has sold. So with that, apparently they say Vince was at Raw. Following the sale, a lot of changes were made to Raw that was apparently of Vince's doing, which resulted in what people felt as a boring and disjointed show.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the sale currently and what it might mean for creative?
So the rumors of a sale happening have been around, I think, since before the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he stepped down after the allegations, people were like, okay, this sale's going to be coming quicker than we thought because this situation's not looking good for him right now.
In hat.
So they started talking about he was making appearances again at shows and everything. And I'm like, maybe the sale's imminent.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thinking the Saudis would buy it because of the deal they have for Crown Jewel.
Right.
People thinking maybe NBC Universal buys it because they already have Peacock and USA. But not UFC parent company. And I think the major thing is they Endeavor themselves made it a point to make sure Vince was back in power for this move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the other thing is, so they were saying Vince's fingerprints were on Wrestlemania, which is why we got some of the finishes we got. But I don't know how true that is. And they sent out an email saying Triple H was still the head of creative, but I think that's just a title at this point, because one of the notorious things about when Vince runs Raw is he makes changes on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
They will change the show an hour before the show, an hour into the show sometimes. And so I believe it was Sean Ross from Fightful. He said that the script changed 3 times.
Yeah, I heard that report.
And like Bailey was supposed to come out with Damage Control, and they nixed that, so no one really knows what's going on with Bailey right now. And then whatever. The biggest complaint I heard about Raw was that 3 hours there were less than 30 minutes of in-ring wrestling.
Yeah,
in
that
the
sounds
entire
very Vince-like, yo.
Yeah. So,
Very Vince-like.
and I mean, they still did like 2.5 million viewers, but
Yeah.
I think
It's the
WWE is one of those
show after Mania.
they're one of those machines that are too big to fail anyway. So I'm not going to expect low ratings, but yeah, the quality, it's the morale in the locker room has apparently been low since Vincente Giuseppe McMahon and his mustache came back and took over.
You know, there's something very I don't know, proverbial and ironic and funny and like outlandish that Vince really, in cartoons and shit or movies, when someone when they want to be disguised, they put on that Charlie Chaplin mustache. Or you look at Fresh Prince when he tried to act like Uncle Phil with Ashley, he put on fake mustache. No, it's not me. Like he really he really grew a mustache and did that. Like, and I watched this. I saw his picture at the Hall of Fame. I'm like, yo, he really had black hair in a black. He really looked like some Ricky Ricardo type of thing. Like,
Autobahn.
It's like, and then I seen him. I watched the interview he did with CNBC. I forget my man's. I forgot the dude that was interviewing him. I thought he asked the right questions as a journalist, but I could not imagine. I couldn't believe that was his face. He got some plastic surgery vibe going on. He looks weird.
Oh,
he needs to
yes.
look like an old man. You're 78. It's okay. Like, what is the problem? You're 78 and work out. Like, what's the problem? But that has nothing to do with my views on the Endeavor deal. But I just can't believe like he really. I think that whole mustache thing is something to get people talking about that, other than whatever he's been accused of doing with terms of his misconduct. And I know that is not the stories that have been reported are not probably the only stories. They've already hinted that there's still more things. And I think the New York Times, who have been on top of this thing, or the Wall Street Journal. It might be Wall Street Journal. I'm not sure. I gotta check that. It's one of those two publications, though. But they've been on top of this investigation the whole time. They can't be happy that he made out like a bandit and still made $9 point something billion on this motherfucker. You know, they probably want him to not have any real influence. I suspect there'll be more things to come. In regards to just the general premise that the WWE has been sold and it's no longer in the ownership really of the McMahon family, is like monumental to me.
Yeah.
But business-wise, it makes the most sense. They probably made the most money that, I thought it was a good bet at this time to do that sale. You have to be forward thinking. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so I mean, congrats to those that put it together, but this whole Vince McMahon mustache thing is like bugged out.
Looking like a Cuban band leader.
It's, if you told people this was what it was, they wouldn't believe it. You can actually show them. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it's nuts.
What do you think this means for wrestlers in the future? Because there were definitely some wrestlers who prefer Triple H's style of booking over Vince, and who probably would consider coming back to WWE if Vince was still not a presence in the company.
Yeah, I think everyone felt lighter and more. I looked forward to watching the product every week.
Mm-hmm.
When I got this news that, like, when I came home Monday and they was like, "Oh, Vince is back," and the show was trash, I was like, "Oh." I said, "Damn, we just started this show." I think a big part of us excited to start this show was, I think, an underlying thing was like, "Yo, there's so much hopefulness in the industry right now. There's so much new things happening."
Yeah,
it felt like there's no ceiling on what was possible, and with Vince back, it felt like there's a ceiling back again, because he has his own way of doing things, and it's like, and it's mainly about, not that his record doesn't have any record of success, but I also think like, his ego has to be involved, because you can also see what Triple H has done in the last half a year. People are as excited about this thing than they've ever been, so and you laid the groundwork for it, but I'm like, all right, let someone else take the baton and take it further. Like, so I'm really, I'm down on that. Like, I'm not really feeling the fact that, I hope he's not back for good. People are looking forward. We're recording this on Thursday. If you watch Dynamite at all, feel free to comment on that after. Like, I didn't catch Dynamite, but people are wondering if Vince will be in Gorilla for SmackDown tomorrow night, and if he is, they believe that would say a lot about what the near future stands for. So I think the wrestlers that's coming in that's not with the company are probably thinking twice, and probably not as hopeful. And people that are there are probably feeling like, fuck, man, like, I had a good thing going. Bronson Reed is like, yo, I was getting a segment every week, like, and it's important for people to have these moments and have these shots. Before I let you take it about AEW, if you have anything to say, like, big ball they dropped is not having no LA night all weekend. The people wanted LA night. I know that for a fact. I'll close on that shit.
No LA Knight and no Bobby Lashley. Like, what are we doing?
Well, he came out, but he just showed off his trophy, which was whack. Which was whack.
But see, like, So with talent, it's weird because I feel like the kids in NXT are happy. Like they know nothing's gonna happen to them.
Mhm.
Now, when they get called up, it's a different story. Now we'll see how much of this is Vince is initially there because that's what Endeavor wants, and if he'll eventually pull it back. But then again, that speaks to his ego and whether he's willing to do that. But like if when he hears the general consensus that people, even though a lot of people tune in, that no one really enjoyed Raw, we'll
Mhm.
see what happens for SmackDown tomorrow. But
Mhm.
I think the outside of booking, because like you can't control that really. I think the biggest thing wrestlers are going to be worried about are budget cut firings again,
Yes.
because Endeavor owns UFC. UFC notoriously does not pay their fighters a fair wage. Like that's been the biggest issue in the UFC. They're the biggest game in town, so fighters will still fight for them, but they do not. There's only a handful of people who are millionaires fighting in the UFC.
That's
Like,
interesting. Well, is it? I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying, like, those fighters probably looking at sports entertainment the whole time, like maybe either with interest or disdain.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So will there be any crossovers? Maybe, but
I hope they don't mess with people's salaries, yo. Don't mess with
no.
that. If you want to shoot fight for a living and get paid less, that's your business.
Like I don't think so. Wrestlers won't be getting paid less in WWE, but the wrestlers I believe who are like not scared but worried are like the Dakota Kais of the world, the Bronson Reeds, people who were let go under Vince,
Mhm.
brought back under Triple H. Like, are their jobs safe? Will they be let go again once the contract is up? Like, is Vince still making these decisions? So that's, I think, the real trepidation. And like AEW's roster is getting so bloated, they can't continue to take everyone anymore.
They don't
Like, they
have
can't.
the TV time.
Yeah, they don't have. There's rumors that they're gonna get a Saturday show. Like Warner's wants another hour of programming for them, and they're
Okay.
thinking like Saturday at 6:05, like the traditional WCW Saturday night slot.
Mhm.
But even with that, their roster's just too big. Their roster's just too big. I think you grit your teeth and stick it out in WWE and see what happens, or you have to be so financially set that you don't mind wrestling in the indies because you just love wrestling.
Mhm.
But we'll see how it goes. It's only been what, 4 days, 5 days, if that.
Yeah, but it's what it means, all these things, like it has such a seismic feel to it. So I understand why people will have strong emotions towards it, especially because I know people have to feel the rug was pulled out from under them, to some degree. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with them, man. You watch any Dynamite yesterday?
Yeah. Yes. So here's a good segue. So one of the things is, so Jay White is a wrestler from New Japan, and he was a free agent, and AEW and WWE were both clamoring to sign him. He's a former Bullet Club leader, so it would fit in with either companies. He could come and go join the Good Brothers while AJ's still recovering from the injury or whatever, or they could have a feud with Cody as a heater feud, whatever. But he was a big free agent signing, and apparently the word is WWE had him all but locked up,
Hmm.
and then just completely stopped reaching out to him. I think it was once this Endeavor thing was getting finalized, they had to prioritize that. So they just didn't contact him because people were expecting him to either debut Mania weekend, maybe attack Seth or something, or on the Raw after Mania.
Right.
But lo and behold, it's Wednesday. You know what time it is. Dynamite opens up. Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson, another former Bullet Club guy who he was in WWE once upon a time too. But
Okay.
the match doesn't start because Jay White comes out, attacks Ricky Starks, debuts, boom. That's the big
Segment
thing.
one.
Yeah, segment one.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So the big stories going into Dynamite this Wednesday were Tony Khan with another weekly huge announcement.
Mhm.
And FTR had a title match, title versus careers. And I don't know if you follow FTR on social media, they've been alluding to possibly leaving AEW now,
I love
whatever.
those guys,
So,
man. I love those
so,
guys.
yeah, they retained. They signed a new contract with AEW, I think 4 years, so they'll be there for the foreseeable future.
No.
But here's the thing: people are wondering if that's a case of Vince coming back because FTR they love Triple H. They hate
Uh,
they hate Vince.
Yo, FTR, I'm sorry, man. They belong in the WWE. I'm sorry, bro. I'm
Like
sorry. I'm
so
sorry.
that may have been a big domino that dropped from that sale as well. But AEW's big announcement was that they are going to be debuting in London August for All In. A new pay-per-view, new event called All In. It's apparently supposed to celebrate 100 years of Warner Brothers, their parent company. Their big debut in Europe, which I think was supposed to happen in 2020, but because of the pandemic, got axed.
Right.
And the biggest thing is they're running out of Wembley Stadium.
Oh, they're going to Wembley?
They're going to Wembley.
Oh,
So the
that's
biggest stadium in England, it seats 90,000 people. This would be their biggest show by far.
that's
By
big
far.
stadium, man. Because that's the first time they did something like that since SummerSlam.
hmm
That's
And the
really
thing
cool.
is, WWE's there a month, not at Wembley, but they're in London the month
For Money in the
before.
Bank, right?
Yeah,
But they're not doing Money in the Bank is a stadium show for them too, is it?
yeah, but I think they're running out of O2. I think it's another soccer stadium. Yeah, the place is called the O2 that they're running out of.
Okay. I like when they did Clash of the Castle, that shit was huge too. But I
Yeah,
wasn't in England. I was in the UK, so in Wales, I think. But
yeah. But Wembley's going to be bigger than Clash at the Castle.
well,
So
shout out to AEW for taking that step. I mean, I don't know. Funny enough, I don't know if they could do that in the States, but the fact that enough American promotions don't go over there is enough of a
yeah,
selling point for people to go and check it out.
yeah.
So I'm happy for them, man.
Um, England is one of the foreign markets that they're big in.
Mhm.
So they get a lot of and then they have a lot of people on the roster that they
That performed over there. A lot of indie people, like yeah.
Pac, Jamie Hayter, they could get like all the indie guys. They're gonna have to build this show up to be the biggest show in the company's
They're
history
gonna
if they
have to
want.
do the shit that WWE just did with Drew and the shit that they did with Sheamus and Gunther.
Yeah,
Like get your
yeah.
European guys in some spots, some premier spots. Yeah,
Which is
I look forward to that.
interesting because Drew's contract is coming up.
And they say he hasn't signed it yet, right? He ain't getting
Yeah,
no extension. He's
yes,
chilling.
yeah, they're still negotiating, so we'll see about that. And then the fact that they're marketing this as like Warner Brothers 100 years too. It's like the 100-year anniversary of Warner Brothers and the 100-year anniversary of Wembley Stadium.
Oh wow.
So this makes it seem like this isn't just an AEW thing. Like Warner was like, all right, we're gonna do something. So they're gonna have
A
all
budget.
the resources necessary
You have
to
a
make this
budget.
show. The one drawback is their pay-per-view All Out is scheduled to be a week after. So it's how do you build two cards for shows that are a week apart that are, still both big shows.
I think you can do it. What the bigger thing is, are people going to pay for both the viewing order?
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah,
You could do it, but like, are people going to shell out pay-per-view money for both? That's the one thing that WWE is going to kick everybody ass in is that, bro, this shit is $9.99. For me, it's $5 because I was grandfathered in. But
hmm
people are paying $9.99 for no commercials and all the wrestling content from the company.
Yeah, that's gonna be
That's
their
tough because I'm not really keen on $50 pay-per-views, and I'm just not.
no.
I've been spoiled. You know, we went through the dark ages for a reason. Then we came to this point. 999 pay-per-views. Y'all better Warner Brothers better put up a bag. You better add us to fucking Disney Plus. You better do something, homie.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the next big move for AEW as a business, not as a wrestler, but as a business, getting that streaming service because Warner Brothers owes HBO Max. So push
Be
comes
like,
to shove, they can say,
just
"Hey,
add, just
push,
add a section. Just add a section.
yeah."
Man, please. Man,
And then they would have their content. They would have Ring of Honor content. Um,
yeah,
knowing Tony, probably
that'll be a
have like those indie. They could probably get access to like indie content because they have so many indie wrestlers that are still like the way they do their contracts. They can still wrestle for whatever company they want. But yeah, they're trying to do big things this summer. I think it's time to get the ball rolling because they, as a company, it's been up and down since like the CM Punk situation.
yes. I
So they
agree.
have to time for them to start getting steady.
Let's bring him back too. I said it. I'm a Punk guy.
Here's my thing.
Life is interesting with him around.
Here's my thing. It's tough. It's tough because their outside influences affecting it. Like the issue, like they'll be close to terms apparently, and then all it takes is for like some reporter to report something that may or may not be true. And then Punk will react to that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe talks are scaling back. So but we'll see.
That could
People
see.
want to say people are saying they should bring him back for the UK show.
I mean, I'll be nuts. I get a pop. I'll pop for that. I'm
Mhm.
interested in watching it. Honestly, I'll check that out. I'm happy
Yeah,
that they're making that move. It's a big move for them to make. They're only like 4 years old,
yeah.
so
That's what I think people forget that. Like,
so they should be very proud that they're at that point. They believe that this is viable. So
yeah, because like TNA 4 years in still didn't have like a solid TV deal.
man, look, they could never do this. You know, this is because of the organization itself. It starts like they say in sports in professional sports. It starts in the front office.
Yeah,
It really starts in the front office, yo. And not saying it's all Tony Khan either, because I'm sure he'd be a little high strung too. But there's other people in place that have saw things to this point.
oh, he's definitely high strung. I think they made the announcement. I don't think he blinked a single time.
He's a
Like
different
he blinked.
he's a different cat, man. He's a different cat.
It's funny because he's like
The
he's like the son of a rich kid who grew up a wrestling nerd who now has access to money to start his own wrestling company, and it's such a weird position.
and he's not like you know he just has a different personality. That's all.
He's a
And
little socially awkward.
it's not what you expect from someone in that position. Usually, someone in that position has a different quality to them. That's all.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
His age is probably a part of it too, because he's really young
So it's a different
compared to
generation. How we have to socialize.
Mhm.
That could be. That could be. Well, good
You
luck
know,
to them. I look forward to that. That's a cool tidbit. This last segment I call the go home segment. Obviously, for those who are fans of pro wrestling, you know, go home basically means well, it's two meanings really. It's during a match, it means you're going into the final stage of your match.
mhm.
And on regarding to shows, it's usually your final show before a big pay-per-view type of event,
Yeah.
episode. So, you know, this is our final segment. I'm sure we could throw in like sound effects and shit.
Oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna handle that.
Dazzle that. But anything you want to see now that you know WrestleMania sort of marks the end of the wrestling year for WWE? Anything you want to see in the future in regards to like pushes for certain people or you know certain character changes or
I
rivalry?
guess the biggest thing now is like, so for me, since I don't follow the weekly shows, I'm one of those guys like I'll watch clips and then I'll watch the not pay per views. What is it? PPLs or with like live
Yeah,
events,
PLEs.
PLEs. Like
Yeah.
I'll tune into those, and that's how I, get my WWE fix. Um, I'm interested in the lead up to SummerSlam.
Okay.
So, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna do one overarching story for Roman? What are they gonna do with him? Who's gonna be the guy? Because I think for him to hit 1,000 days, I think it's about 6 more weeks for him. 6, 7 more weeks for him to reach 1,000 days as champion. So how are they gonna facilitate that? Are are Brock and Cody just feuding to see who will face Roman again? And then the tag title scene. What's Kevin and Sammy got it. Now what are you gonna do with them?
Hmm.
Like basically everything is just what's happening now. And looking forward to seeing what's happening after this sale. I think that's the caveat. Like these are things are more important now with the rumor that Vince is back in creative control. So we'll see how things go. And it's a big summer for both wrestling companies, honestly. Honestly, AEW has to I think they have to use this summer to further cement themselves in
As
the
an
industry.
alternative. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're setting up story beats, like they got their whole BCC versus Elite feud building. Um, they got their whole women's title picture. They need to start doing shit with Jade, honestly. Like,
Well, they need to build someone that's a viable opponent for her.
yeah,
She's built to me, you
yeah,
know. She needs to not be the TBS champion anymore, and she needs to be on the main event. Honestly, the TBS title has felt to me more important than the women's title, majority of this time. Not because the character who holds it has such gravitas to it, you
mhm,
know. So like it has to feel more valuable. She's the first TBS champion, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like how many women champion they don't have? What story are we telling? You know what I mean? So I think she needs to get to a point where she's sort of like Becky two belts. She need to get the other title and then decide like I'm leaving this here. Or like Oscar did it. She ain't losing NXT. She's kind of like, all right, I'm moving on. Like
Mhm.
she has to figure out a way to be like, you know what? Obviously, y'all ain't got nothing for me here. I'm going. You gonna see me Wednesday nights every night. And is it Jamie Hayter that's the women's champion over there now? Who's the women's champion over there now?
Jamie Hayter, yeah,
Yes. Okay. I'm not that far off. I dabble. So
yeah.
like yeah, man. If she's not a good, they got to build somebody that's like a threat. Like I don't know what that shorty Trinity Fatu doing, but she still want to wrestle, and she don't want to be in WWE. I
That's
think
the
her athleticism definitely is such that she could be interesting for a J and knock
like
her off that perch.
so. See, I don't know what's going on with her. Like I think
Hmm.
she was at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view in the audience supporting Athena,
Okay.
aka Ember Moon.
Hmm.
So I don't know. So she's still clearly like in wrestling circles. So she's not like staying away from the business.
Nah, they
But
did. I think she was a guest of honor at Wale Mania. I think
yeah,
they honored her there, and I think she went to a signing. So like she fucks with it. I think she loves it.
yeah. But with Jade, I think they had to get the title off of her. That title needs to circulate, honestly, in that division. It needs to be what it was meant to be, or what it should be, like the second belt in the division. So, because right now is if you're not feuding for the belt,
You
you're
haven't
languishing.
produced.
You're languishing. Yeah.
Hmm.
So they need to have that circulate. And I think Jade needs. I know. So I read that she actually wants to go to Japan for like an excursion. So that could help to keep her
Fresh.
yeah, keep her fresh, keep her off TV for a while, and have her come back as is. All right, J 2.0. Y'all thought when I was a rookie, y'all was talking shit. I'm just a rookie. I came back from Japan, boom, 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 dominating. And while she's away, you can build other woman so that when she comes back, it doesn't feel like she's so much above everyone else is up. Because I think that's another problem. That was plaguing the women's division in AEW. There were your clear upper echelon people, and then everyone else. There was no real upper card, mid card, lower card deal because
There's no
I see
story.
someone-
They need story.
they need because they need one more. They need, and I think that's an issue with Warner Brothers. Apparently, they're not giving them. They're not allowing them to have more than one or two women's matches a night, and you need like to build a women's division, you need more than one match a night and more than one segment a night. Especially when your women's roster is as deep as AEW's is. Like someone fighting on Dark every week and being 10-0 and undefeated on Dark doesn't make a difference to people who only watch Dynamite.
1,000%. And it's a
You know?
different era. They have to understand they in there when those shows came to be, we were going into the pandemic. I had nothing to do. I'd watch Dark then, but I ain't watching Dark now. I got shit to do.
Exactly.
No disrespect, you know. And I know that's where some of my favorites be. I know, like, I wish the Butcher and the Blade was taken more seriously. I fuck with them, but they be on Dark. I don't be around for Dark. I can't help it.
That is roster blow.
You
Like,
know,
there was that one time Tony Khan was signing any and everyone who's a free agent. And it's like they're like these people are worthy to be signed, but they don't need to be signed right now. You got so many people on the roster you need to build up. But
and they're not gonna say no. They trying to provide. I ain't mad at you. You trying to provide for your family, so I can't knock it.
Like for what it's worth, Impact probably books women the best as far as TV lineups. You'll see a women's tag match, a women's single match. You may see an intergender match, a man versus a woman, and you will definitely get more than one backstage segment. So you'll see maybe anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 8 different members of the women's roster on the show, and they only have 2 hours a week. They don't have any secondary show. So, and that's tricky because their roster is so small, they can afford to do that, but still, they're choosing to make the effort to do that anyway.
Right.
So I think once AEW picks that sentiment up, their women's division will be much better. And I know people were like, make a show just for women's wrestling. I'm like, that's tricky because on one hand, it gives time for all the women to shine. On the other hand, it's like Dynamite is your biggest show. Why do the women need a separate show just in order to be featured? Why can't they be featured more on the current shows? So it's tricky, but roster blow is their biggest cause of all these other issues. But we'll see. And then
their eyes is bigger than their stomach.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
I mean, I can't blame them because it's not like these were scrubs who were free agents.
No.
Like these were viable commodities as wrestlers. So you want to pick them up. But we'll see. Oh, and they got the one rumor, Goldberg being a free agent. They're saying the idea might be to bring in Goldberg as a mentor to Wardlow, the same way they have Sting for Darby Allin.
Okay.
So if you go that route, that could be interesting. We'll see.
Then man, Goldberg gonna want top dollar, homie. You take me away from my son, top dollar. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they got it in them. It's a thought. He's not a big promo guy, so
that's the thing. That's my
maybe his presence is what's, but I'm like, bro, you just gonna pay me my money to just like flex? I'll do it. If you like, I'm just saying, like, them as a company need to figure out how they invest in their money, why they want to invest it that way. But it'll get some eyes. But you gotta, you gotta keep it. He can't become like a regular. I'm not gonna watch every week just to go over it. You feel me? So, but unless you tell me like, oh, special event, he gonna wrestle in a tag or something, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe they can figure that out. I think for me, going into this new wrestling season, I just want to see I like to see Chad Gable go solo and be like a great mid-card person. I like to see him turn face, and like he did this German suplex on Braun Strowman last weekend. That man he's really good, man. Otis is going in the direction of the models. Like, let him do that. That'd be cool. I want to see Gunther continue to reign. I don't mind a Bianca loss at some point if it makes sense. You know, I'm not bored with her yet, but you know, if someone is, I can understand why. Also, to your point, I'm interested to see what they do at Roman and his rivalry, and how it goes on going into the summertime. The only logical place to drop the belt next is at SummerSlam, so we'll see who his rival is then. And maybe there's a thing where they want him to have the belt for 1,000 days. Maybe that's the thing. I'm not sure, but I'm interested in that. And you have me curious now about this AEW in London thing. So we'll see. But going into this new season of wrestling, I think that's what I'm looking. And I'd welcome Vince not being creative. I got to put that on record. Just give me Papa H, please. That's all I can ask. That's all I can ask. But I thought we did.
Coming back anytime soon, but you not making it any easier.
Yeah, man, I'm over this shit. I'm over this shit. But you know, we'll see if we have more things to get into next week regarding the hot tag and what's hot outside the ring. We've been given a lot to work with this week. But
and you know how wrestling is.
Yeah. Like by the time the pre-show for SmackDown come on tomorrow, like there'll be more news. So I mean, we'll definitely have it for y'all next week. We appreciate y'all listening to the best of both worlds of wrestling.
Yes, indeed. Always.
And we will eventually have our social handles for y'all to follow. We still get it.
Yeah.
Pardon our appearance.
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say would be I don't even know, honestly. I think we said all we need to say.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I don't have any hot takes or anything I want to let off right at the end or anything like that.
The joys of a post-editing.
Yeah. So we will see y'all next week. Same black ass time, same black ass network.
Indeed, and maybe by next week we probably be in person recording. So you might see our studio vibe and everything.
Yeah.
But this is cool, man. This is cool. Y'all enjoy the weekend. Enjoy SmackDown tonight. The whole shebang.
Yes. Rampage tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that part. This is why we're the best of both worlds, because I be neglecting poor AEW. I'm sorry. I be neglecting them. It's not personal. Shout out to the team over there. Shout out to Danny and those that helped me get some tickets from time to time. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah. And it was in UBS last night, so
yeah,
beautiful.
Shout out to the wrestling club, that school over there. They what my man MJF was kicking it with them. So shout out to them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. But signing off, yo. Enjoy the weekend.
Peace out and be good to each other. Shit.
Word up.